this special edition of Art Attack. Now I bet that somewhere you've got your own personal favourite art attack that you've done. It could be something you've done at school, or something in your own drawing book at home, or maybe it's even hanging on your bedroom wall by now. But I'll bet that you've got a picture or something else that you've done that you're secretly quite pleased with. Well, you know, a lot of people ask me which is my favourite art attack. And the truth is, we've done so many together over the years, it's very hard to choose. So what I've done is I've put together a gallery of my own personal favourite art attacks that we've done together over the last 5 or 6 years. You'll probably have a good laugh at how my hairstyle changes too. So okay, let's kick off with the very first art attack that I ever did. Let me let you into a secret. I have got a big problem. I keep getting the urge to do this. Woo! Now I call it plop art. Not only does it look good, it is brilliant to do. All you need is an egg. Now what I've done here is I've chipped a hole about 2 centimetres across in the top of the egg using the handle of a spoon. You empty the contents out of your egg into a cup, use it for an omelette or something a little later on, and then into the empty eggshell you pour paint. Now you can experiment with the type of paint you use, or you can use ink. This is poster paint I'm using here. It's with a little bit of water. In it goes. Nicely mixed up. Now as you can see, plop art can be a little bit messy, so please do it out in the garden, lay loads of newspaper down, put your plopping paper down, and then plops away! How's about 2 colours in 1 eggshell? Plops away! And when you've tried it once, you can't stop doing it. Plops away! And you know what I've always wanted to do? The ultimate plop. See one of my all-time favourite art attacks? Forget piggy banks, this is the Art Attack Dinosaur Bank. Come and have a look at this. Blow up a balloon to roughly the same size as an Easter egg, but definitely smaller than your head. Then take 2 loo roll tubes, cut them in half and tape them together so you have something that looks like that. And then tape them to one side of the balloon. So a bit of tape on there, onto the side of the balloon. And there you have the legs and the body of the dinosaur. And then take a felt tip pen and very carefully draw a rectangle on the top of the balloon. Now it needs to be about 1 centimetre by 4 centimetres. It doesn't have to be neat, and that will be the slot where your money goes later on. Then take some scrap paper that's roughly the same length as the balloon and crunch it up and bend it slightly, and you need to do 2 of those because you're going to tape one of them to one end of the balloon, like that, when it stands still. For the neck, you just need to bend it up, there it is, and then the other to the other end of the balloon, and bend that down for the tail. And the good thing about paper is that if your neck flops, just bend it up again, because it's good stuff to model with. And there it is. And that's roughly the shape of your dinosaur. Now the good bit, the messy bit. Take some length bits of loo roll and start to wrap it around the dinosaur shape. Just wrap it all the way around, apart from the slot at the top. You'll see why in a minute. And then just slop on some PVA glue, mix 2 parts glue with 1 part water. And you've seen me do this before. Just slop the glue on, and what it does, it sort of disintegrates the tissue paper, or the loo paper, and binds it to the shape underneath, which is the shape of the dinosaur. And just keep slopping on the PVA and slopping on the loo paper, and you probably need 3 or 4 layers of loo paper. That's roughly equivalent to 1 whole loo roll's worth of paper. Slop on your PVA glue all over your dinosaur, apart from the slot, and when it's finished, it will look something like that. Look at that. And then take 2 small balls of scrap paper and just dip them into the glue, put them on the top of the head for eyes. There's one there, and one there, and then start to slop on some paint. Now, I'm using acrylic paint here, but you can use poster paint, any type of paint you like. I find acrylic paint is best first. I'm doing it in a sort of green and yellow blotch colour. As I say, dinosaurs weren't that colour, right? Experiment. Nobody really knows, do they? I'm just going over the whole of the dinosaur. You see there? It's even the slot at the top where I didn't put any paper before. So go over the whole of the dinosaur, apart from the eyes, and when it's finished, you'll have something that looks like that. And I didn't paint the eyes. In fact, I have painted them white with a little black dot in the middle. I've covered the whole thing with another layer of PVA glue, which gives it this very sort of hard finish and a nice shiny finish. And there it is, and you're ready to pop your money in. And where does the money go? Well, it goes in the slot, but you have to pop the balloon first through the slot. There we go. There it is. And pop your money into the slot. If you need to get your money out, just tip your dinosaur upside down, make a hole through one of his legs, get the money out, and then repair it using exactly the same process: glue, tissue paper, and paint. And there it is, the Art Attack Dinosaur Bang. Try it yourself. Of course, you can experiment using different cut-out cardboard shapes and tape them to the balloon. And in fact, you could even invent your own dinosaur, an Artatachosaurus. Go on then, have a go. A dinosaur bang. Take a look at this beautiful calligraphy. This was done with black ink. This one was done with red poster paint watered down. And look at that fabulous split letter effect. And you're not going to believe how I did those letters. Take a ruler and draw a line across a piece of paper, across the top of the ruler, and then another line across the bottom of the ruler, and then just move the ruler about 1.5 to 2 centimetres up and draw another line. These are guidelines to practice small and taller letters. Now, I'm not going to use expensive calligraphy pens or brushes. I am going to use my favourite ice lolly. That's all you need, your favourite ice lolly. And the first thing to do is eat it. Save the stick, and then carefully snap the stick in half. And there you have 2 calligraphy pens, a lolly lettering. And take some ink, just ordinary fountain pen ink, already mixed poster paint that you mix with a lot of water so it's nice and runny. Let me just give you a tip. Hold the stick exactly like you were holding a fountain pen. Forget that it's a stick, hold it like a pen. Dip it into your ink, and then start to practice your lolly lettering. And another tip here, just keep all of the snapped end of your stick on the paper, and you get this fantastic thick, thin effect on the lettering. Look at that fancy flip there as well. With a bit of practice, you will discover all the different effects and stars that you can achieve with a lolly stick. And again, all the time, I'm just keeping the whole, this snapped end onto the paper to create thick, thin, thick again, and then I'll flick for thin. Like that. Now sometimes when you snap a lolly stick, you get this splintered sort of jagged edge. Well, don't throw that away, because that can be used to good effect. I just dip this into the ink, shake the excess off. You get smashing sort of split letter effect. Again, and give it another flick. Another way to create split letter is to take the molly stick and just snip a notch right in the middle of the stick. But be careful if you're using the old scissors like this. Just got a little notch in the end there. Again, dip it into the ink, shake off the excess, and you'll notice I have to keep dipping into the ink. That's how the old calligraphy artists do it. Do your letter. There it goes. Just splits. If you snap a couple of sticks, you can make a whole set of calligraphy pens. Try it yourself. It's a great thing to do. And a very cheeky art attack. Lolly lettering. More injury time. Up you get. All right, that's it. Touch your toes. A bit of exercise will sort you out. Only a bit of cramp and that. You come here as well. That's it. Get down there. That's it. And you touch your toes. Bit of exercise. No one in. You two, shoes off. Down. And you, come on. In you come. That's it. Exercise it. Up, down. Boots down. That's it. Into position. And let's see some exercising. Two, I'll have you fit by the end of this. Come on, you lot as well, come on. Keep it up, up to... Good. Come on, you lot. Into position. Keep exercising. Into position. Now after 3 I'm going to blow my whistle and you all know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Now, here's another one of my all-time favourite art attacks, and do you know what? It is so simple. It's a very easy and effective way of creating shadows on your pictures using a thick felt tip pen and a bit of scribble. Oh, and I'll let you into a secret. If you look closely, you'll spot something that wasn't meant to happen. Just as I'm about to shade in the man's foot in this picture, a fly, which was buzzing round in the studio, flew right across the picture and actually made an appearance on television. Just take a very quick look at this cartoon that I've drawn. Now, what do you think's missing from the picture? I'll give you a clue. It's something that follows you around all day. Got it? Shadows. But where do you put the shadows in your picture? Well, here's a good tip. Look for the place that the light can't get to. Now, in this picture, the light is coming from this street lamp here, so I'll just chalk that in like that. It'll be shining out in this direction, and it'll be shining it very quickly like that, putting shadow or shade all the way down that side that the light can't get to. All the time looking for those little nooks and crannies. And on his legs as well, because the light will be able to get under his coat. And don't forget, he'll be casting a shadow out across the pavement because the light can't get to it because he's standing in the way. And also off the wall like that. And there it is. Now, one place the light will be coming from in a lot of your pictures is the sun. When you're drawing your picture, you have to decide where the sun is in your picture. Let's just put it even over the horizon there, like it's going down at the end of the day. And then just look for the places that the light can't get to. So on the coach, it'll be in shade at the back there like that, maybe one of the wheels underneath. And on the horse's bottoms, like that, they'll be getting a nice suntan up front. And don't forget the coach will be casting out shadow on the ground. And on the cowboy himself, the left side will be in light, and this side will be in shade. So he's got all his front with the light nicely shining on the front of it, and on his back side, so to speak, and shadow right and left, all the way down, just scribbling it in. Great, don't forget that was going there and down that side. And don't forget, he will also be casting a shadow with the light shining between his legs, and the shadow goes in that direction. And what about the cactus? Yeah, you've got it. It's down this side of the cactus like that, with the shadow out in that direction. Try it yourself. Put some shadows into your pictures and look for the places that the light can't get to. Now, don't throw away your newspapers when you finish with them. Use them, I say. Now, what I've done here is I've cut out some columns of writing, and I think if you look closely at them, all the words look like bricks. Now, don't worry, I've gone a bit mad. Watch this. Fold on one side. Fold on the other side. Then cut across the top, there, and there. Get those bits right, don't need them. Fold over again. And there you have 3D. Well, I'm not going to say what it is. I'll bring in another one. There's another one. Fold it, put over the top. And another one there. Nope, it's not a rocket. Put a load of bricks together. What do you get? Yes, of course. Buildings. I'll put another one there. Now, if you use part of the newspaper that's got a photograph on it, just tuck it behind. Gives the effect of a building in the distance there. Another fat one down the front. Slowly but surely, I'll put that on the top there. So you can just lie them on the top. You can glue them if you like and just lay them on to show you. I think one more, let me see. That's about right in the middle, just laying it on. Having a bit of black peeking through there. Now, cut a moon out of Orange magazine, so just pop that in the top there. And get some glitter. Just sprinkle that on the city skyline to create the effect. Stars, that's it, shining away. And this is the blue. Watch this. I'm just going to create the effect of reflection from these buildings, which makes it look as if they're standing in front of some water. Now, this moon here, great effect there. We need a roadway in front of the buildings, and put stars, buildings, roads and water together, and what you get? New York. Hey, why don't y'all try it yourself and give yourself a New York newspaper attack? like that. Not all over the joint. You two over there. All right? This is the one. Go for it! Now this technique reminds me of the technique of the old masters many years ago, where they used to paint with palette knives. They used to just smear their paint literally thickly across their paper using a knife. Now they would probably have used oil paint. I'm just using ordinary poster paint and acrylic paint that I just squeezed straight from the bottle. Take a piece of white paper or card and do a drawing on it that's very simple but nice and big. Now here I'm going to make me dinner. So there's a plate, there's an egg there. It's not to be a brilliant picture because this is just a rough guide. A couple of sausages, some beans round there, maybe a nice greasy chop. Ugh. A tomato there. And when you've done your picture, get some PVA glue and mix it with just enough water, just a touch of water, so that you can paint the glue onto the picture, but just on one section. Now I'm doing the middle of the egg to start with, the yolk. Then take some cotton wool and tear off a piece that's just big enough to stick down over that section. There it is, onto the glue. And then you need some coloured tissue paper that matches that section. Now I need some yellow here to cover the yolk. You can get tissue paper in many different colours, and just tear it so that it'll go over the cotton wool on that section. And get your brush and the PVA glue and just simply paste down the edges of your tissue paper. Now don't go over all the tissue paper and don't touch the cotton wool with the glue. Just pasting down the edges, stuffing them in as you go, and modelling it with your finger. Keep tucking in the tissue paper all around the edges. And when you finish that section, build up the whole of your picture section by section in the same way. Glue, cotton wool and tissue paper. And when you've finished it, it'll look something like this. Now you can see here, I've used the red tissue paper for the tomato. I've used sort of pinky for the chop, red or orangey there for the beans, and brown for the sausages. and so on. And when it's dry, just add in some more detail with a felt tip pen. I'm just going to do a couple of beans here to show you with a felt tip pen. You don't need to go over the top with detail. You can even add some detail in using scraps of tissue paper. Just have a little bit of green there, some PVA glue, stick it on top of the tomato. And when you've finished it, cut the whole thing out and back it into some coloured paper or board, and it will look something like that. Look at that. It looks nice enough to eat, doesn't it? A 3D stuffed picture. And of course, you don't have to make your dinner. You can try any type of stuffed picture. Just keep it simple, draw it in sections, and make it nice and big. The one art attack which I know is a lot of people's favourite is when we made envelopes out of old comics. How do I know? Because within a week of that programme being shown, I had received sackloads of letters and pictures in envelopes made out of old comics. Whatever you do, don't throw away your old comics. Look at this. Take an envelope and carefully tear apart the glued joints. Open it out and then mark along the edges where the glue was. Just put that to one side. Bring in a coloured double-page spread in your favourite comic. Put the envelope back on top and then just carefully use it as a pattern to draw around the edge into your comic. It doesn't matter which side of the comic you draw on, you will be using the coloured side. Although you can use black and white side. In fact, you can do this on newspaper, wallpaper, any type of paper. There it is, and you have that pattern. Cut that out, and you will have something that looks like that. And fold it back again on the original envelope, same places. That side, that flatten there, and then mark with an X on the same lines as those glued edges on the original envelope. Then put some glue on those edges. The reason I've marked them is so you know which ones you are. Fold them over, stick them down, and there you have a multicoloured comic strip envelope. Looks brilliant, doesn't it? And let's face it, if that came through your letterbox, it'd certainly give your eyeballs a shock. But I haven't finished yet. You could also make some great greetings cards to go inside the envelopes. Make a card out of thin card or thick paper, and make it so it's the right size to go inside the envelope. And on the front, stick a picture from your comic, preferably a big picture, so it covers almost the whole of the front of your card. And then take a piece of paper and draw on it 2 speech bubbles or balloons, roughly, because you're going to cut them out, so you have a shape something like that. Put a dab of glue on the back. Again, you can do it more carefully than just to show you. Just stick it on the front of your card with a speech bubble coming out of the character's mouth. And then you can take a black felt tip pen, just carefully go around the edges of your speech bubble. So it looks like it's coming out of the character's mouth. And just to give it a professional finish, go around the outside of your card. You can use a ruler. Doesn't matter if the lines aren't that straight, because they're not usually that straight in comics. They're usually zany and all wacky. Then use the speech bubble to write the message onto your card, on your address, on the front of your envelope. And there you have a multicoloured comic strip card and matching envelope. this? Ordinary stick of chalk, black sheet of paper, make some strategic lines on it. This is just ordinary school chalk. Packets. Just make some lines here, pressing very hard. Get as much chalk onto the paper as I can. Circles here. Again, pressing hard. A bit of chalk dust on. And I think I need just a couple of dots here. And then it should be ready. Okay, there it is. Just blow off the excess dust. And then smudge. Smudge in this direction to start with. Bring it down and up to meet it the other way. All the time just smudging in the marking. As simple as that. The other direction. Both directions if you like. Look down here. Just slowly building up the picture. Just by smudging. In every direction here I think. That's it. Smudge it right out. Not only is this very effective, it's also, as you can see, great fun to do. You can always charge your picture up again. There it is. And a little bit of red down there, just to finish the effect. There, over there. One blow. And there it is, lorry in the rain. And where's the rain? Yeah, of course. It's on the road. Another good way to smudge is to cut out a shape from a sheet of cardboard, any shape you like, any size you like, and smudge off the edge. I have discovered how to make ordinary drawing paper look like an ancient document, a bit like this one. And the secret is stock cubes. Now all you need is an ordinary sheet of paper and tear it all round the edges. Now you don't have to be neat, you can make it as ragged as you like, because the idea is to make it look as if the paper is really old. So there it is, just finish that off there. And then, the good bit, I love doing this, put some cracks in the paper. Have you ever seen those old parchments? They look as if they've been cracked through the ages. So there it is, just flick away, tear away, put some cracks in your paper. And lay it down, take your stock cube and crumble it into some warm water. You don't need much water, just got a little saucer full here, and you only need one stock cube. And just mix it in so that it looks like a paste. And then just paste it on to your piece of paper. Now, see all these finger marks that I'm creating here? Doesn't matter at all, because it all creates to the final finished effect of your document. Just smear it on, rub it in, right in the corners. You can even see those little blobs of stock cube that are on there. That doesn't matter either, because when they dry, they look like little bits of old parchment. There it is. Now you've got to do this on both sides, and then put it to one side to dry. And when it's dry, it looks something like this. Look at that. Already it's 100 years old. Now what about the writing? Have you ever noticed the way the writing on those old documents, the first letter is always very fancy? Well, I've discovered the secret to that too. Red. What you do is you cut a square of red, about 2 centimetres by 2 centimetres, and you get some poster paint. Now I've mixed this with a little bit of water, and you simply paint onto the red. Again, this is great fun to do. There it is. Get your brush stuck in there so that your the bread down, put it away, and you get this sort of bobbly textured effect. And you put that to one side to dry, and it takes about 10 minutes to dry. When it's dry, it looks something like that. So okay, I'm going to put my first letter in there now. Now, have you ever noticed that those first letters, they're always really curvy? So I'm going to curl the top of my T, and the tail of my T, curve this up. And when you've used a black felt tip pen, use one of these. These are my favourite pens, these, the old gold pen. Gives a great effect if you just put it right on the outside, on the edge there, of the black that you've done. It is. Just following the letter all the way around. Just go up and just smear it onto the paper. And there it is, the first letter of your ancient document. Now all the rest of the letters, if you do a bit smaller with a smaller felt tip pen, and of course it depends on what you want to say. For instance, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. It is hereby declared that the owner of this ancient document is now entitled to double pocket money. Signed, get your mum down to sign that, pocket money contract. Or when it's someone's birthday, don't give them a present, hide the present and give them a map to try and find the present. And there it is. X marks the spot, an ancient treasure map attack. I've noticed something here now. My personal favourite art attacks all have one thing in common. They actually make me smile. Now it could be that they make me smile because I'm really pleased because it looks so good and it's a good idea. Or it might make me smile because it's really funny. But what happens when you put the two together? Something that's a great idea, which looks good, which is also very funny. Well, that's what this next art attack is. What you need to do is blow up a balloon roughly the same size as your head, and then place it in a plant pot or a jug or something to hold it with the tied end down. And then mix some PVA glue and water in equal parts, and just tear some strips of newspaper, dab them into your glue, and then just literally slop them onto the top of the balloon like that, and you can just dab them down with a brush. And the idea is to cover the top 2/3 of your balloon in newspaper. Now it's always a good idea to cover it in about 4 layers of newspaper or papier-mâché. I'll give you a tip on that. If you do a layer of newspaper and then a layer of magazine, you'll know how many layers you've actually done. And when you've covered the top 2/3 of your balloon, I'll just do that to show you. Leave it to one side to dry overnight. And when it's dry, it'll look something like that. And then it's just a case. Now this is the bit I always dread. Popping the balloon. Wait for this. 1, 2, 3. And just take out the balloon there like that, and you're left with what looks like half a bowl. And you can always just trim off those rough edges there just to neaten it up a little bit. And then just put your bowl to one side and take 2 polystyrene cups. And just watch this carefully. If you stick your thumb into the side at the bottom of one of the cups and then rip the bottom off like that. I'll just do that again to show you. There's the cup. Thumb into the side and tear the bottom off like that. And then if you place the 2 cups together, then your bowl should hopefully sit neatly between the 2 cups. You can do it a bit neater than I've done. I'll just do it quickly to show you. And then tape your bowl onto your cups. Again, I'll just do it very quickly. And then just put some papier-mâché all over your cups. Again, 4 layers. See, it can be a bit of a struggle and a fight, but you get there in the end. Cover it in 4 layers of papier-mâché, and then leave that to dry overnight. And when that's dry, you'll have something that looks like that. And notice it's got a hard and stiff there. That's very good. And it looks a bit like a pair of trousers, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what it is. And you notice here what I've done is I've built up about 2 centimetres around the top, made it nice and thick, and around about 2 centimetres at each the legs down the bottom for turn-ups. And then if you paint on your detail on your trousers using acrylic paint or poster paint or powder paint, you can design your trousers however you like. Now I'm going to just do blue paint, just slap it on here and turn my trousers into a pair of blue jeans. And then just slap it on to show you. And it's a good idea when you've actually put on your base colour that if you leave that to dry overnight, and then next day you can add on bags more detail. You see what I've done here? I've painted on a brown belt, and I've even done sort of gold buckle on the belt with one of those gold pens. If you see here, I put in lots of little detail with a very fine black felted pen to put a stitching on there. And the more detail you put on, the better it looks. And what do you use them for? Well, they make great bowls, and you can stick just about anything inside them. You might like to stick in some flowers, like that, make a good present. Or you could stick in crisps and use them for party bowls. What about keeping all your art materials in there? And this is my favourite, sweets. Try it yourself. Papier-mâché balloon trousers. Yes, this is Art Attack, the big art show that is going to give your eyeballs a shot. Now, if you... Excuse me. Gotcha. There's another one. That's better. A splat attack. Great fun to do and very easy. All you need is one of these cotton wool balls. And the idea is that you stick the cotton wool ball into some ink or poster paint that you've mixed with water. Now you'll have to experiment with the consistency, but the idea is to get the cotton wool ball real soggy. Should do it. And then you place it in the middle of a sheet of paper. Always a good idea to do this sort of thing outside because it can be a bit messy. And then you choose your secret weapon, which is one of these. It's a fly swat. You can get these from your local hardware store, only about 75p. And the good thing is you can use it again and again. So you line up your shot and splat attack. You can even try it with two colours. Splat attack. Well, you know me, I like to experiment. Splat attack! Now, if you get this just right, you can create the feeling that your picture is actually travelling through space. What you need is a big piece of black paper and some white poster paint, and I've mixed this in equal parts with some water, so I've just watered it down quite a bit. And to create my galaxy, I'm just dipping in a stiff bristled brush, or you can use an old toothbrush for this, because I'm going to create my planet with the spatter technique. Now, this is great fun to do. It's just a case of charging your brush up and flicking the paint onto your paper with a piece of card. You can do it with your finger. And it's a good idea just to concentrate the spots in the middle of your picture. And then when you've done your space, you just put it to one side to dry and create your planets. And the way to do that is just to draw some circles onto a piece of paper like that, and then brush on some water just across your planet or your moon, and then just liberally dab on some blotches of paint or even stripes of paint. You can do whatever colour you like, and then put that to one side to dry. And when it's dry, it'll look something like that. And when your space is dry, bring that back in, and it's just a case of plopping your planets on top of your space. I've got some coloured ones here. As I say, you can use different colours. I just did a grey one for the moon. And it's a good idea to put the smaller ones in the middle of your picture. Again, it helps with that feeling of travelling through space. I think that will do it. Now, as for the spaceship itself, what about using this stuff? Kitchen foil. After all, it has got a metal surface on it, just like a spaceship. And you can cut a curved strip to go onto the top of your space picture, like that. And a curved strip to go onto the bottom. Now, if you have trouble cutting curves out of tin foil, just draw it on first, maybe using your homemade compass, that is, and then cut out two very thin strips to go across for the window struts. One there, and one probably there. And when everything is in position, just glue it down, and you'll have something that looks just like this. If you notice here, what I've done is I've actually stuck in some coloured bits of tape there, and I've even put in some detail using permanent marker, just for the controls of the spaceship. Try it yourself. A space attack. That's a good idea, isn't it? Create your own jigsaw pattern. But first, you have to create your own jigsaw piece. And to do this, cut out a sheet of thin card, roughly 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, and draw a very simple shape into one side. So there's a triangle into that side, and then another simple shape into one of the adjoining sides. And you can use any of the two sides as long as they are adjoining. Yeah, very simple shape like that. And cut those shapes out so you have something that looks like that. Now watch this. Move this piece to the opposite side and position it exactly opposite from where it was cut out. And you have to do that very accurately. I'm just doing it quickly here to show you. You can maybe measure it with a ruler. And do the other piece, put that to the opposite side, exactly opposite from where it was cut out. And when you've done that, take them into position very carefully, and you have a jigsaw piece. There it is. And then place it onto a piece of white paper, a nice big piece of white paper, and just draw around your jigsaw piece to create your jigsaw pattern. And round to the beginning again, and there it is. There's the start of your pattern. And then simply move your jigsaw piece and just slot it in there like you would a jigsaw, and continue with your pattern. You have to be quite accurate with this, so take some care, some time doing it. But you build up just a fantastic, crazy pattern. There you go. Move your piece again, and then slot it in to another section, and keep going. Cover the whole of your paper, and when you're finished, you have something that looks like that. Look at that, a crazy jigsaw pattern. And then it's just a case of colouring in these jigsaw pieces into different colours, like that. And there's your jigsaw pattern. And when you've done a simple jigsaw pattern, maybe you can make a jigsaw piece that's slightly more complicated. Look at that. I'll pull that out there and pop it onto the opposite side again. Have to be accurate. And that over to the opposite side, exactly opposite from where it came from. And when you take those pieces together, you've got a piece that looks like that. Look at that, that's wild. And that creates a jigsaw pattern like this. Look at that. And then you can get really silly and make it very complicated. Look at that. And again, it was created from a square, and that creates this pattern. And I've even coloured that pattern in with coloured patterns. Try it yourself. A crazy jigsaw pattern. Are you one of those people whose bedroom is so full of junk and clutter you can never find anywhere to hang your clothes or your bags? What you need is one of these. A snake hook. Watch this. Hang it up, and then hang it up. Come on up, look at this. Cut the side from a cardboard box and place it so that the corrugated ridges run from the top to the bottom. Now you can sometimes see the pattern of the ridges in the cardboard. If not, look for these wavy edges and place them at the top and the bottom, and this will give your snake hook more strength. Then take a cup and place it near the top of your cardboard, upside down, and then just draw around the cup, starting at one side, the right hand side, draw 3/4 of the way around your cup. Not all the way, just 3/4 of the way, and then move your cup down like that, and starting where you left off, continue, but this time going the other way around the cup. So you go 3/4 of the way around the cup, and you end up the left hand side, and you've just drawn an S around your cup. And then fatten the S up by drawing a snake, using that S as the middle of your snake. Just go all the way around the line. Now your snake needs to be about 3 centimetres wide, using that line as the middle, and give it a nice pointy tail and a nice pointy head, but not too pointy. And you can just keep altering the shape of your snake, and when you're happy with it, cut it out. Now if you have difficulty cutting cardboard out, you can always wet it a little bit first. When it's cut out, you'll have a cardboard S. Then take 2 double page spreads of newspaper and roll them up lengthways. As you can see, I'm rolling very loosely. Okay, I'm just scrunching the paper up. And then twist one of the ends like that. Fold it under to create a point. And then place that point on one end of your cardboard S. And then just tape it into position like this. There goes. Tape on the top there like that. And then it's just a case of tucking and scrunching the paper to the shape of the cardboard, and as you go, just tape it. It's good fun to do this. A bit difficult sometimes because your sellotape does tend to flap all over the place, so you have to be really careful with it and just keep going around the snake with your cardboard S and taping your paper to it as you go. And you don't have to be too neat at this stage. And at the end, if you've got any newspaper left over, just simply snip it off and tape it down. Then do this with your other piece of newspaper. Again, you have to roll it up and crunch it up and then scrunch it to your cardboard S on the other side. And when you're finished, you'll have a nice, fat paper cardboard S. Look at that, done on both sides. And then for your snake's eyes, just roll up some small balls of newspaper and tape them to the top. One there, one there, like that. And then to strengthen your snake up, you have to cover it in kitchen roll. Now I've just torn some strips of kitchen roll like this. The reason I'm using kitchen roll is to give it strength, and the secret to a good snake up is strength. Take these strips, just thin strips, and start to wrap them around your snake, a bit like a bandage actually. Just wrapping it around as you go, and then mix some PVA glue with water, 2 parts glue, 1 part water, and just glue down your kitchen roll. And the idea is to cover the whole of your snake in this kitchen roll bandage, if you like, even your snake's eyes. And as I say, the key to a good snake up is strength. So go over it in 3 layers of kitchen roll and PVA glue. And when you're finished, leave it to dry overnight, and you'll have something that looks like that. Look at that, 3 layers of kitchen roll and PVA glue. It's gone rock solid. And now it's ready to paint. But first, I'm just going to draw in a couple of snaky details. You can use pencil at this stage if you like. I'm just using pen to show you. Just draw on some eyes. And I'm going to go over this in paint anyway, so it doesn't have to be too neat. And for your snaky design, how about some stripes? You can do some diamonds on it, like the diamond-backed rattlesnake. There it is. And then it's just a case of painting it nice, bright, snaky colours. And when you're finished, it'll look something like that. Look at that, that's acrylic paint on there. You can use poster paint, and I've just picked out the details here with black permanent marker, and I've done the same on his eyes. And then you can just hang him up absolutely anywhere you like. You could put him in your wardrobe, you could hang him on the door, but what about on a shelf like that, and use it to hang up your clothes, or your bags, or even your trainers. And on they go, and there they hang. And you can do any design you like. What about a multicoloured stripy snake, or even a spotty snake? Or what about this giant-sized one? I've done that by drawing around a cereal bowl. Any shape, any design you like. Try it yourself. Snake hooks. Oh yeah, and one more thing before I go. I really like this one as well.